record. Hi, so today, Thursday, we're working on lesson 2.03, estimating scores. You have 2 days to do this lesson. So we're taking a look at the lesson. It's got 7 pages. The first page is talking about Runya and her track meet again, and telling you that you're going to learn to estimate sums or the answer to an addition problem by rounding, and estimate differences by rounding. And we were just talking about how at the Olympics, people don't win by whole meters. They win by like centimeters more. So you have to be able to use decimals because in a lot of life, things aren't whole numbers. So it says here, estimate and don't wait. Now, remember when we're estimating, the really important thing, what place value we're estimating to. And if you can't remember place values of like tenths and hundredths and you need a reminder, remember you can always go up here to your little resources box and click on it, and it will open up with all the resources in this unit. And here they are. And look, here's a place value chart. Let's take a look. If it were me, I might even open this up in a separate window and just have it handy in case I need to flip back to it to remind me where are the tenths, where are the hundredths, where are the thousandths. I think you know your whole numbers place value, but these tenths, hundredths, and thousandths, we need to pay attention to. So right now, this is a separate window. I'm going to go back to my lesson, and it says estimate and don't wait. Round each number to the nearest tenth. Okay, I have to decide which one's the tenths, here, here, or here. I'll look at my place value chart. Oh, these are tenths just to the right of the decimal. I'm going to go back to my lesson. So I'm rounding to this number. Now, remember, when you've chosen what number you're rounding to, you're going to underline it, and everything to the left of that number is going to stay the same. It's not changing. Unless the number is 9. I have to tell you that, because if it is a 9 and you round up, it's going to become a 0, and this one's going to get 1 bigger. But if it's anything other than a 9, then these numbers stay exactly the same on the left, and all the numbers to the right of the number you're rounding become 0. So all you're deciding is, am I keeping this tenth the same or going up? That's all you're deciding, is how far up that roller coaster am I? And to do that, you're going to look at this number next to it and say, is this 5 to the sky or 4 to the floor? Which way is it going to go? Show me with your thumbs, up or down, my friends. Are we going to round up or down? Yep. Christian, look at it again. This is a 3, right? A 3 is 4 to the floor. Anything under 4 is going to go down. So we're going to keep the 5 the same, and it's going to be 0.5. Let's look at this number. It has more digits in it, but the one we're rounding is this tenth, or 4. And then we know that all of these are staying the same, and that all of these are becoming 0. And we're just trying to decide, is it going to stay 4 or become 5? Well, let's look at the number to the right. It's 6. So show me with your thumb, is it going to go up or down? Up or stay the same? Oh, I see a lot of ups. So that one's going to have to be 2.5. And then all the other numbers are 0, which we don't have to put on. Those are called trailing zeros after the decimal point, and we don't need them. The last one here, 6.39. Again, we're doing the tenths. So that's going to be either a 3 or a 4. Show me with your fingers. Which way are we going with this one? Show me with your fingers. You're going to look at the number to the right. And is this number a 5 to the sky or a 4 to the floor? Okay.
This flat.
Yeah. So let's take a look and see how we did. The number 0.53 rounded to the nearest tenth is 0.5. The number 2.46 rounded to the nearest tenth is 2.5 because the 6 was higher than 5. The number 6.39 rounded to the nearest tenth is 6.4. There's 3 more on here for you to practice. But this time, look, we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. Let me remind myself where those hundredths are. Oh, here they are. So we're going to round to this one. It's either going to stay the same or go up 1. And this one's going to become 0. And these are going to stay the same unless it's a 9. Let's see if there's any 9s there. No, they haven't really been tricking you with 9s. So that's good. All right. That's page 1. On page 2, the great estimate. The first decimal number is 1.4. There are no hundredths to help us round to the nearest tenth, so we'll round to the nearest whole number. Now, one thing I see kids do on these assignments is instead of rounding, they just add the full number. But here we're estimating the sum of 1.4 plus 2.2. So it says round the first number. 1.4, is that closer to 1 or closer to 2? What do you think? 1 or 2? Show me with your finger. If you think it's closer to 2, point up. If you think it's closer to 1, point down or stay the same. I need to see answers. Okay, I see a lot of kids saying staying the same, because this 0.4 is not going to go up. It's not to the 5 yet. So we know it's not more than halfway there. So this one's more or less 1. And this one, is this closer to 2 or 3? And fingers, I'm seeing some 2s. All right, so 1 plus 2 would be 3. Here we go. 1.4 rounded to the nearest whole number is 1. 2.2 rounded to the nearest whole number is 2. You add 1 and 2 together, it makes 3. If you were to give me the answer of 3.6, that is the correct sum of those numbers, but it is not estimated to the nearest whole number. So in this case, we add 1 and 2 and it equals 3. Now, if you're a person who's pretty sensible and you say, but 3.6 is closer to 4 Ms. Laws than to 3, that's true. But that's the way they're having you do it in here. But if you know that, I think that's cool. They think 3 was pretty close to 3.6, which means our estimate was a good one. Actually, it's closer to 4, but that's the way the show is showing it. Again, they want you to round these to the nearest whole number. We'll estimate that, oh, this time they're going to round to the nearest tenth. The first thing I want you always to do is identify what you're rounding to, and then look at your place value chart and remember where it is, okay? Because that's super important that you're rounding to the nearest number that they say to round to. So they explain that, and then here is another practice one for you to try. There are 5 of these. I'm going to have you go in a breakout room and try this in a minute. That's page 3. Page 4, create an estimate. Round the first number, round the second number. It's the same, only this time we're subtracting, okay? So the same thing, learning to improve her throws, looking at the difference between her better one and her worse one. So again, your best guess, follow along to estimate the difference. You're going to estimate the difference of these 2 numbers. They're going to have you round the first number, round the second number, subtract and check. I want you to open all of these up. Think how long that takes to open it. Remember that I can look online to see how long you spent on this exercise. If I see that you're like zooming through it and just doing the test and then not scoring very high on the test or the quiz at the end, then I know you're not spending the time on the lesson. Need to do all of these exercises, which would take me a long time, like maybe half an hour at least, right? And then you get to lesson 7. What's my assignment? Do the quiz. Remember that you have tomorrow to do the quiz. I would rather have you spend all of today on this lesson, 2.03. Do I have any questions about that? Anybody know what you're going to do? Oh, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Me?
Did somebody have a question? Somebody started to talk.
No, not me.
Okay. When you're done doing exercise 2.03, you don't have to do the quiz today. You can do it tomorrow. Then after you think you understand it pretty well, I want you to do at least one lesson in Dreambox in the breakout rooms. I'm going to be calling kids into the main room to do their reading with me. So like I said, I'm going to start with Dalmir, and then I'm going to do Izzy, and then I'll go to Lauren and anybody else who didn't do their reading test yesterday. If I don't get to you during this time and I come back on and say it's time to take a break and go to lunch, then please come back at 12:20 when we're going to do a writing lesson, okay? I'm going to stop our recording.